Well, an item caught my eye this week. I think it was in the Connacht Tribune, if I'm not mistaken, that Galway harper Úna Ní Fhlannagáin from Connemara, or living in Connemara, became a gold medalist, and we always like to encourage gold medalists to come on to the programme. So first of all, Una, you're very, very welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Marian, and thank you for having me. I'm very honoured to be on, so thanks.
Well, it's quite an achievement. You took home the Sean O'Reilly gold medal for harp.
Yeah, so the competition is run every year and it changes instrument every year. And this year was for harp, and I entered it just as a kind of a personal challenge, and then I kind of against my expectations got into the final, and then nearly fell off my chair when I found out that actually I had won. So yeah.
Well, I don't know why you should be so surprised, because I have listened to the tracks that you sent me, and you're obviously a very, very accomplished harpist. And you're interesting, very, very musical background, I believe.
Yeah, I'm really lucky. My mum and dad met at a flat, actually. My dad was playing in a session and mum was listening. She's a really, really passionate listener and kind of participant in our traditional music, and Dad was playing and he was on a barrel apparently, and some owl fella next to him was like, "Would you not get up and let that lovely young lady sit down, you rude young man?" And that's how they met.
An interesting one. Did your dad play harp, or was it some other instrument?
He didn't play harp at all, actually. I'm the only person in my family, or the first person who plays the harp. He plays the flute and he sings.
All right, okay. And you're also related to the very famous Keane family, I believe, from Carlisle.
Yeah, so Nora, my grandmother on my dad's side, was the sister of Sarah and Rita Keane. So Dad's first cousins with Dolores and Sean, and then it'd be my, it depends how you decide to put it. First cousins.
Oh, first cousin once removed or something, I never know.
Yeah. What debate?
Can anybody ever remember what all those things are? I don't think
I've
so.
I've just given up.
Yeah. So, I mean, how long have you must have been playing harp for a long time?
I have, actually. So I started playing when I was 11. So I've been playing it a bit more than 20 years now. Yeah, I started out playing music when I was 3, actually. I started on fiddle, but I was not actually the most motivated fiddle student. I knew that I wanted to be able to play music with my dad in sessions and at the big family parties we used to have, but I didn't really click. You have to practice in order to be able to sound good.
I mean, most children do have that problem.
Yes, the penny doesn't drop for a while. So I never sounded particularly good and wasn't very fulfilled by it. So I had this, but simultaneously was very ambitious about it. So I had this big kind of contradiction in myself. But then when I was 11, my mom, who was just incredibly patient and supportive, had a brainwave of maybe a different instrument would suit me. So I, along the way, had gotten exposed to a harp, actually through Mom's machinations. She brought us to the Fla and she brought us around to each of the different instrument competitions so we could see exactly what a flute sounded like, exactly what a fiddle sounded like, exactly what an accordion sounded like, concertina, etc. And the B&B we were staying in just so happened that the woman who ran it used to play the harp, so the harp was in the breakfast room, and I didn't eat breakfast for a whole 3 days. I was like plinky plonky plinky all morning. And at the end of the weekend, Mom was looking at this and she goes, "Well, would you like to play like the fiddle?" "No." "The flute?" "Well, I already played the fiddle, but the flute, the accordion, but well, how about the harp?" And I was like, "Oh." And this kind of little thing lit inside me. And I was like, actually, maybe that could be interesting. And Mom was great and got me a harp teacher, the fabulous Kathleen O'Cnan, who's based in Galway City, and a wonderful harp from Paddy Cafferty. And Kathleen was a really supportive teacher. And then when I was 14, I was in a school which had a music group, and I kind of started noticing that my friends were getting very good and they were talking about how much practice they did, and I was shocked to discover that all of them were doing like 30 minutes an hour a day, and I was like kind of mooching along doing maybe 10 minutes every 2 days. So I suddenly realized, oh, this is the secret weapon. You know. So the very next morning I set my alarm for 6 a.m. and I practiced for an hour and a half before school, and I then felt so good and enjoyed it so much that
and of course you got much better at it too.
Surprisingly enough, yes, Marian.
I mean, you're as a professional musician now, because I know you teach music as well. I mean, how much practice would you do a day now?
So actually, Marian, that's a really interesting question. Essentially, I have a life that is divided between performance and education. And to be honest, I'm teaching loads at the moment. So I love getting gigs, because then that kind of forces me to practice and forces me to find the corners of time to get the fingers onto the harp, you know. And that was actually one of the main reasons I went in for this competition, because I knew that it would be this little deadline which would motivate me to actually get my arse onto my bum onto the chair, you know. I think, like, I'd love to say that I am this, like, you know, artiste who just loves it and lives for music, and I am, but unfortunately I don't practice unless I have something external to motivate me. That's just the way I am. So whenever I get a gig I practice. And then to be honest, because of the rest of my life is music and listening to music, a lot of the time when I come home I actually just want to sit in silence or go cooking.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, it probably can get a bit too much at times. Now, I asked the question actually because I learned piano as a young child, as so many do, and I can remember my mother saying, you know, if you were a classical pianist you'd have to practice 8 hours a day and be absolutely freaked out by the very thought of it. But so anyway, have you played up around this sort of North Connemara area ever? Have you visited up here, played?
Oh, I'm really passionate about North Connemara. I actually had my 30th birthday in Letterfrack, and it was like one of the best weekends of my life. It was incredible. Yeah.
Well, that's where I'm sitting in Letterfrack right now.
I know.
Because that's where the studio, you knew the studio was there.
How lucky are you? Yes.
Very lucky.
One of the most picturesque places in the world.
Yeah. And performed?
Yeah, you know, I haven't actually done many gigs. I actually do a couple of gigs out there for weddings and stuff. So would have played it a lot in Rotleague Manor Hotel, of course, that lovely, lovely hotel.
It is
and
indeed.
Then, I've done gigs in the Lochina Lodge Hotel. I did gigs in Zetland House. That's just off the top of my head. I played in Clifton Art. I was lucky enough to have Christmas concert with one of your choirs, the Connemara,
yes.
Yeah, they're wonderful. Out in Clifton there last Christmas.
Oh, lovely.
And then also I've ended up doing, of course he had the Fla there years back, and I went out to that as well. So I ended up playing out there a bit, yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay, well, I'm going to have to leave it there because of time constraints, as we always have. But the one thing I must remember to say to you is many, many congratulations. I'm sure you were up against extremely stiff competition.
And I was, and I want to say a massive shout out to them. It was such an honour to be in their company. So to the other 8 harpists who were from America, who were from France, who were from all over Ireland, a massive thank you, because you're the ones who made me a better musician. You inspired me, so thank you.
Well, that's a lovely thought. Thank you very, very much, Una, for joining us and for telling us all about it. And when immediately after this interview, I'm going to play some jigs that you've recorded. Jigs are unusual enough on the harp, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, actually, it's a kind of a big thing at the moment to play Irish traditional dance music, but it's only been a thing for the last 30 years.
Okay.
And can I just say quickly that if anybody in North Connemara wants to harpist, then you can find me on www.una.ie, una.ie.
Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Una.
Thank you so much, Marian. Thanks for having me.